just crossed over into the Logan Zone. From ECU Pirate football to the whole college landscape to basically anything else that's on his mind, Coach Steve Logan's talking about it now.
You don't coach at East Carolina. You don't come to East Carolina. You don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart.
Tweet at Steve Logan Show with your takes or call 252-561-GAME for your spot in the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. Now, here's Steve Logan.
Welcome into the Logan Zone here on this October the 15th, midway through October already, and it's hard to believe, but we are here on the Logan Zone. Philip Pilkington alongside Steve Logan. We'll be taking callers later in the show. Coach and I are going to do some opening monologue here. We're going to have Jim Zoki on, the voice of the Pirates, as well as one of the color commentators for the Carolina Panthers. That will happen at 5:20, and we'll be taking your calls the rest of the show. One of our title sponsors today is Greenville Utilities. Even though Greenville Utilities has a reliability rate of more than 99.99%, sometimes outages happen, and just like in football, you need to have a plan for what to do just in case. Right now, grab your cell phone, open the contacts list, and add GUC's emergency hotline as a contact. Here's the number to use: 1-855-767-2482. That's 855-SOS-2-GUC. Plan on using that instead of fumbling around when the lights go out. Now I'll welcome in the host of the Logan Zone, and we will forgive him for this, even though the Pirates play the Golden Hurricane tomorrow, the Tulsa Golden Hurricane alum, the coach, Steve Logan. How's it going, Coach?
Well, I don't have... I did. I graduated from the University of Tulsa, which is an indictment to the University of Tulsa that I could get through such a highly esteemed academic institution. People don't know out in this part of the country, and you know, why would you know anything about the University of Tulsa? But what the University of Tulsa is Wake Forest. It's probably got 4,000 or 5,000 undergraduates, probably 4,000. And much like Wake Forest, very unique. It's got a pretty little campus in downtown Tulsa, of all places. The stadium is downtown. And I ended up graduating from the University of Tulsa. And then through a series, I did not play football at the University of Tulsa, although I watched their games, millions of them growing up. But, through a series of events, I became the offensive coordinator at the University of Tulsa at a ridiculously young age, and had a great time there. I got a lot of feelings for the university. And as you know, Philip, I've referenced, my experiences at the University of Tulsa and Boston College in particular, because of the way that private universities, when they want to, can become absolutely lethal in any sport they choose to drop the hammer, if they want to. Notre Dame football, there's one. But, my time at Boston College reinforced my thoughts about what private schools can do when they get interested. Duke this year has gotten interested in football and bought them a quarterback and did it seamlessly. They did it quickly before anybody knew what was happening. And Tulane, out of and again, Philip, I always ask you how old you are, and I don't know what your journey is, how you ended up at East Carolina, but when I was coaching at East Carolina and all of my years previous coaching at Mississippi State or the University of Tulsa down in the southeastern part of the country, Tulane was an automatic checkmark win. Automatic. And, suddenly over the last, 3-4 years, to me, it may have happened quicker because I wasn't paying that much attention, but Tulane, they're private. Here comes the NIL and all these other things, and bing, bang, boom. They're at the top of the conference every year. So, which makes me angry at my alma mater, because I intimately know, I know the names of the people in Tulsa that could write the check. And you could perform at the University of Tulsa exactly what SMU did. SMU is a private school with oil money. Tulsa University has some oil money. And Tulsa University has an endowment of billions of dollars. But so when I was at the University of Tulsa, there was a mandate from the president of the university, and of course our head coach John Cooper, who became the head coach at Ohio State. People would recognize him from there. I was working for John Cooper. John was the athletic director as well. And so, believe me, we came out of the tunnel correct. We looked right. We got off the bus in good shape when I was at the University of Tulsa, and we won a lot of football games. So anyway, here comes the University of Tulsa. But, back to you, Philip. I want to go back and take a look back at the Tulane East Carolina football game. And, you're right there in the community. I know you're doing some radio shots all day long with various people, but just, give our audience, the Logan Zone audience, give us the vibe and, the reaction to the Tulane football game, and then I will give mine, and then we'll move on from there. But what's going on in Greenville, America?
It's frustration, Coach, and it's disappointment. And I think the frustration is the fact that your opponent really did not capitalize on the opportunities you gave them, and you still couldn't find a way to win the football game. The disappointment, I think, might be a little premature, but, you are halfway through the season. Your record is what it says. But I think that Pirate fans have this, want and desire, of course, to win a conference championship, and they feel like that is over now. And it's not. If they win out and they have a victory over over Memphis in there, then they could still get in on some tiebreaker type situations if they were to be 7-1. But I think people are just kind of disappointed, a little frustrated, especially because coming into the year, the offense was what was supposed to be good, the defense was what was supposed to struggle. And it seems like the defense has been the consistent part of this football team. And we saw it, with their bend but don't break mentality over the past, week. Now, obviously, Tulane missed some opportunities there, dropped some passes in the red zone, but still to hold them to 4 field goals on the first 4 drives with a couple of relatively short fields there, I think the fan base is just a little bit, maybe disgusted is too strong of a word, but again, frustrated, disappointed. And there's some people I think that are maybe hanging their heads a little too low. I understand it, feeling those things to an extent, but there's a lot of goals that can still be accomplished, including a conference championship. That is not out of the picture.
Well, everything you said is factually true. And when I watched that football game, if you'll recall, the folks that listen to this show regularly, getting ready to play Tulane, the numbers all tilted to Tulane. And I made the comment, it was still a winnable football game. And, the linchpin to the effort for East Carolina to try to upset Tulane centered, for me, around it had to be a no-turnover game for East Carolina University. Well, to East Carolina's credit, they accomplished that mission. It was a 0-turnover game. Tulane had 1 turnover. But the point I'm making is that, a compliment to the East Carolina effort from the standpoint of just what you said, that football game could have, maybe even should have been 21-24, possibly 28-0 at the end of the first quarter. And through a series, well, let me interject this too, Philip. I coached a lot of football games at East Carolina, and I can count on one hand the number of times I felt like the officiating tilted my way. That football game at Tulane was incredibly tilted toward East Carolina University. The officiating, if I had been the Tulane football coach, I would have lost my religion midway through the first quarter. Those 2 clipping penalties where they called a post chop on the offensive line that took away 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
They would have had to have carried me out of the stadium in a straitjacket.
I agree with you, Coach, but with the 2 clipping calls, but there are some people screaming at their radios right now. A lot of East Carolina fans felt like the Tulane defensive backs were extremely handsy and breaking on the pass early, and they feel like it was very much in Tulane's favor more than it was in East Carolina's favor because they felt like East Carolina was unable to throw the ball. To be fair and completely honest, I was listening on radio because I had to be here in the studio doing radio, so I didn't really see the game. So I'm just I'm letting you know there's some people screaming at you right now, Coach. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing, but
that's fair. That's fair. But I would point out to the people that are saying that the East Carolina people they're complaining about no calls, a no call, and a no call. And a call, to me, are different points of irritation. Okay, I get it. Every contested pass from the NFL on down, and all you got to do is watch NFL football and wake up on Monday morning after Sunday NFL football, and your Twitter feed or pick up an ESPN article, and it's going to center around officiating calls that weren't made or were made in the passing game, in particular pass interference, which is those are subjective calls. The two calls that were made on the chop, they were clipping penalties on the interior of the offensive line. They were so questionable. And when's the last time you've seen that call made? You haven't seen that call made in forever. And two of them show up. And like I say, it could have, should have, would have been 28-0. But enough of that. Officiating is what officiating is. But I'm telling you that the officiating tilted to East Carolina's favor. Well, with the simple fact it took 2 touchdowns off of the board. How dramatic can you get? How tilted can you get? Enough of that. Back to the autopsy of the Tulane East Carolina game. To East Carolina's credit, the players, whatever, they continued to play hard, and they, suddenly out of nowhere, I'm sitting there watching this football game, and what was the halftime score, Philip? Like 9-0 or something like that?
I think it was 12-7. Let me pull it up
12, yeah,
quick.
So I'm just saying, it was one of those football games where East Carolina, Tulane didn't finish them off, didn't finish their red zone opportunities. And to East Carolina's credit, they play hard, go in at halftime. They get the opening 12-0. That should have been 28-35. It could have been that, but it wasn't. But then to East Carolina's credit, you look up midway through the third quarter and bing, bang, boom, East Carolina's winning the football game. Now, I was sitting in my chair watching this game, and this is something, all these coaching scars I carry around from all the years. I'm watching Tulane let this thing slip away, and East Carolina goes ahead. And the first thought I had was, good, and this is me talking to all the football teams I was associated with. And again, I was either the offensive coordinator or I happened to have been the head coach at a junior college or at East Carolina when I was the big voice in the room, so to speak. Good teams answer. Good teams answer. So you're playing this football game and the opponent scores on you. If you're a good football team, there's a collective energy that kicks in, and there's a collective understanding that you're being threatened, truly threatened now. You have to answer. And East Carolina goes ahead, whatever it was, by 2 or 3 points midway through the third quarter, and it happened lightning fast. And I was sitting in my chair, and I said, okay, good teams answer. Let's see what happens here. And I believe Tulane went on maybe a 4-play drive, or it may have been just 3 plays, and hit that big post route that they hit. It's called a poker route. But anyway, that big post route that they hit, hey, Tulane answered and came back and kind of put a little bit of control back on the football game. But again, to East Carolina's credit, they continued to fight, and because East Carolina played a no-turnover football game against a little bit superior opponent, guess what? That football game came down to the last play of the game with East Carolina throwing the ball in the end zone with a chance to take the game into overtime. Now, I want to back up from that, though, for our audience. Let's talk about coaching. I'm sitting in my chair. I'm watching Tulane go on just an absolutely magnificent, what you would call 4-minute drive at the end of the game. So the game is essentially tied. Tulane gets the football on what? The minus 30? All of these are generalities, but generally true. They get the ball on the minus 30, 4 or 5 minutes left on the clock. Well, what do you want to do? Well, in a perfect world, I would like a 5-minute drive that ends up with a score, and we walk off the football field victorious. I'm speaking on Tulane's behalf now. Okay, well, let's see what happens. Tulane gets football, and here we go. They go down the field. I believe they may have converted 3, maybe 4 third down opportunities or issues in that drive. It was magnificently orchestrated. I'm talking 5-star top drawer play calling, 5-star top drawer execution by the Tulane offense, and East Carolina's defense is playing well. And bing, bang, boom. Tulane, okay, now I'm going to absolutely, I don't know the head coach at Tulane, but I'm going to tell you something right now. What he did at the end of that football game was criminally wrong. I'm pretty accurate when I say this. Tulane had a 1st and goal at the 5-yard line. East Carolina has no timeouts. Tulane had expertly extracted the timeouts away from East Carolina during this drive. Beautiful clock management. Got through the 2-minute timeout. And all of a sudden, Tulane is down on the 5-yard line, 1st down with something like 45, maybe 50 seconds left in the game.
Here we go, Coach. 1st and goal on the 4, 41 seconds, no timeouts for East Carolina.
Okay. Well, let me tell you what the coaching manual, every coaching manual that's ever been written, here's what you do. You make sure that you do not score a touchdown. You hand the ball off. You don't even hand the ball off. You kneel the ball in the middle of the field. You're on the 4-yard line, for crying out loud. You kneel the ball in the middle of the field. You keep the clock running. You kneel the ball in the middle of the field maybe one more time, and you bleed that clock down to 2 seconds left on the clock, maybe 3, probably 2, and then you use one. Tulane had 3 timeouts, I believe. I know they had 2. So you call your timeout, and you kick the field goal. You kick a walk-off field goal in that situation. That way you're not handing the ball off, you're not scoring a touchdown, and leaving any time on the clock for your opponent to have a possession. It's coaching 101. And I'm sitting there, and on 1st down, I think, maybe 2nd down, Tulane runs a play-action pass out of a 3-back backfield, a full-house backfield. It was a beautiful football play, and it worked perfectly. And they scored a touchdown. And I wanted to throw my glass of wine at the television. You know, I'm not necessarily rooting for or against anybody. I'm analyzing the game. Tulane scores. Guess what you got to do? You got to kick off to East Carolina. What's the one thing that East Carolina can do pretty well? Throw the football. And particularly, you know, here's an opportunity for the quarterback from East Carolina to throw the football without somebody in his face, that was a problem all night long. Tulane's defensive line won that battle consistently all night long. They beat up East Carolina's offensive line. Well, guess what? Throw a deep out cut, another deep out cut, one more deep in cut, spike the ball. Guess what? Your opponent is on the 28, 25-yard line, whatever it was, throwing the ball in the end zone, and it was a contested throw in the end zone that would have taken that game to overtime. And if I'm sitting there and my football coach at Tulane had let that game slip away in that fashion, holy moly. And again, I'm upset just reviewing all of that. But anyway, there's some talk about, there's an autopsy of the East Carolina Tulane football game. Well-played football game on both sides of the football. So we're going to take a little break here, and then we're going to have Jim Zoki come on. Jim does the play-by-play for East Carolina, and that's going to segue into some suddenly, out of nowhere, kind of interesting Carolina Panthers as he does the color analyzing for the Panthers. And anyway, we'll look forward to talking to Jim. We're going to take a little break here, and we'll be right back.
At CCS Equipment Sales, we're proud to be your one-stop certified Takeuchi construction equipment dealer. Our knowledgeable staff is dedicated to building lasting relationships by providing solutions to your needs for new or used equipment, rentals, parts, and service. Our inventory includes Takeuchi excavators, track loaders, wheel loaders, along with a wide range of attachment options in Ayden, Angier, or Youngsville, or check us out online at ccsequipment.com. And remember, at CCS Equipment, we believe we succeed when you succeed.
It's Bo time. Fumble in the food on game day? Rookie move. But you know Bo can make your tailgate a winner, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Because the Carolina Legend has everything you're craving. We're talking crispy, juicy chicken loaded with real Southern flavor, fluffy, scratch-made buttermilk biscuits, and all the fixins to feed your whole crew faster than you can say touchdown. Be the MVP this season and let Bojangles do the cooking. Order your tailgate today. It's Bo time.
Guten Tag, this is meine Auto. Und this is meine key. And I only trust one place with meine key. Meine key car care. They are so transparent with e-inspection, which shows photos of the problem and the fix. Meine key is my favorite part of America. And my second favorite part? The cowboys and the horses. Remember, I only trust meine key with meine key. Your one-stop shop for total car care.
At participating locations, Meineke locations are independently owned and operated.
For years, Callie Ann Phelps has been singing about Phelps Chevrolet.
Phelps Chevrolet is the one for you. Low, low prices, service too. See the big dealer right away. Carolina's finest, Phelps Chevrolet.
And you'll agree with what Skylar Phelps has to say.
Nobody beats Phelps Chevrolet's prices. Nobody.
The name you can depend on. Phelps Chevrolet.
Get you one.
Hey folks, Steve Logan here. Hot or cold, Wilson Roads Heating and Air Conditioning has been in the keeping you comfortable business since 1961 on Hooker Road in Greenville. Steve Rhodes, second generation, gives each customer a 100% satisfaction guarantee. Wilson Roads is an independent trained comfort specialist dealer specializing in new installations, home replacements, and service agreements on all makes and models. Go online at wilsonroads.com and finance up to 60 months on qualifying equipment. Hot or cold, get the job done right. Wilson Roads, you'll be comfortable in no time.
Meet the Kawasaki Nav, our first ever personal transportation vehicle designed for cruising the good life. The Kawasaki Nav 4E puts the fun in functional, with a premium, sporty design and comfort for the whole family. Fully electric and loaded with storage, modern tech and more. The Kawasaki Nav won't just wow you, it'll wow the neighbors. Be the first to nav the neighborhood. Visit Ron Ayers Motorsports, north of the airport on Memorial Drive, Greenville.
Hey folks, this is Coach Steve Logan. My friends at Dogwood State Bank are pirates, and they are changing the landscape of community banking. That term, community banking, is not just a catchy slogan for Dogwood State Bank. They really are redefining what it means to bank local. Big banks may want big business, but Dogwood State Bank wants your business no matter what the size. At Dogwood, your business is big business. Dogwood State Bank has offices in Greenville, Morehead City, Wilmington, Raleigh, Sanford, Fayetteville, and Charlotte.
Member FDIC.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone here as we get set to take a deeper dive into the Carolina Panthers as well as the East Carolina Pirates with Jim Szoke. So now, Coach Logan, going to toss it back over to you and Jim.
All right, here we are. We're back. And Jim, are you with us?
I'm here, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing great. Where are you hanging out today?
Charlotte, North Carolina, getting ready to drive down to Greenville tomorrow for the Tulsa game, and then drive back Friday to Charlotte, get on a plane Saturday to go to New Jersey, technically, for the Panthers and Jets game Sunday.
Holy moly. Well, look, I just got through in the opening part of the show. I just kind of gave a little bit of an autopsy of the East Carolina Tulane football game, and I know you were right there front row and center. And let me ask you this, because a large part of what I just got through talking about was the end of that football game and what was one of the most beautifully orchestrated 4-minute drills, whatever you want to call it, by Tulane. Down the football field they go, beautiful execution, great play calling, third down conversion after third down conversion. And suddenly they find themselves first and goal at the 5. They have successfully bled all of the timeouts out of East Carolina's pockets. Okay, so you're sitting there, you've got the football, first and goal, 40-something seconds left in the football game. Your opponent has no timeouts. And Tulane lined up in a full house backfield and threw a play action pass for a touchdown, and I just about fell out of my chair. Yep. And, because, again, people have asked me a million times about coaching in college and coaching in the NFL. And, the NFL is such a precise presentation in all areas, whether it's punt, kickoff, how to throw a completion, and all the way to clock management. And did you or anybody in your broadcast, did it come up that what in the wide world of sports is Tulane doing, throwing a play action pass for a touchdown in that situation, rather than just kneeling it twice, calling timeout, and kicking a field goal to have a walk-off field goal to where there's no time left on the clock for the opponent? Or, did that come up in your booth or anybody talking about that?
I invite you to go back to the IBX Media app, and you will hear me saying it multiple times. And the way I was phrasing it was, that's an interesting way to go about it, because you almost always see running backs throw themselves down to the ground, let alone the fact you would throw a pass. That could be tipped and intercepted, right, by the way. It's to me, it was mind-boggling, because what you do is you've used all the timeouts, to your point. You've got one of the best kickers, it looks like, in the nation out there, who's 4 for 4.
Has not missed all year long.
Yeah. Yep. And so all you're just trying to decide is, does he want it between the hash marks, on the right hash mark? Where do you want us to fall down to kick your 20-yard field goal is the only remaining question, correct, and it'll be the last play of the game. And I said it throughout the drive, and once they got down there, and when they threw that pass, I'm sure I said it more than once. And then you leave the other team 35 seconds with which to play. And so that was mind-numbing. I wouldn't have brought the kickoff back. I would have saved that time that we spent returning the kickoff. But other than that, I thought Coach Harrell out-coached someone. The other one coach, which was less significant, was, they were, I think, 6-0 at that point. They do the fake field goal in the first half in that second quarter. They've got to score a touchdown. I mean, okay, you could catch somebody off guard. You could score a touchdown there. But you had to, by the time the ball was flipped, run 20-plus yards and score a touchdown. There was no getting a first down on that fake field goal that they pulled off in the first half. And they get tackled at the 7 or 8 yard line by Tegan Wilk on that play. So I thought there, too, they're just handing over 3 points. And if you don't have a great kicker, I understand trying to work around that. But they've got an excellent kicker. So those were two of the number of things that I thought were odd about the way Coach Summerall went about things.
Well, and rightfully so, because guess what? Winning football games, that's the bottom line. And the coach at Tulane is, he's doing a great job. But that particular football game, in both of the instances that you just brought up, I'm telling you right now that that coach, he's got some things that he needs to get better at. I'd put it that way. But, the time management, the fake field goal was that, just what you said. I said, wait a minute now. You got the best field goal kicker in the conference. I think he hadn't missed all year long. And there was no chance at a first down, and you've got your kicker, whoever they flipped the ball to, and he's got to go score. And that was just you got to be kidding me kind of a football call. And then that clock management thing at the end of it, I promise you, and you know this, Jim, because you've got 1 foot in pro football, 1 foot in college football. Had the Carolina Panthers pulled a stunt like that at the end of an NFL football game, Dave Canales would have been fired on Tuesday morning, even if they had won the game. And I'm not exaggerating, am I?
No, because that's the stakes. That's the pressure and how much money and impact that has. And I'll be honest. If he was if this was happening to a coach at a bigger, like a Power 4 program, not a Group of 5 program, it would have been close to terminal, I would think, as well. And the biggest thing is, as we look at it, they then get 2 penalties, and we're all the way down to the 36-yard line with a legitimate shot. I mean, it's a Hail Mary pass, but it wasn't like from the other side of the 50. That's from the 36-yard line. And if not for 2 of our guys going for it, no one did anything wrong, but they both went for it. I think it was Connor and one of the receivers. If they hadn't kind of gotten each other's way, that could have been the Doug Flutie miracle kind of pass play that you pull out the victory with. Because I know they would have gone for 2.
About it. Well, absolutely. You go for 2. You're on the road. You don't want to go over. Yeah, I mean, I'm sitting there thinking, East Carolina's going to catch this pass. This is going to be a catastrophic deal for the Tulane people to deal with. But anyway, enough of the autopsy. I'm kind of, but I do want you to know I did throw my glass of wine at when Tulane called that play action pass. I did. I just like what, I was looking around the room going, am I the only one that's wondering what's going on here? Because it was. But
now I need a breakdown on that. Was this one of your good red wines, or is this more like a $12?
It was kind of an average wine, or I wouldn't have thrown it. Yeah, it was an average. Yeah, if it's a really good one, I'd have probably kept hold of it.
This is important to add as a footnote. I got it now. Okay.
Yeah, I have some discretion when I'm breaking out one of the really good bottles. I might want to throw it, but I won't.
Do that, yeah.
Well, anyway. Well, look, let's take a quick look forward then. I'm a proud graduate of the University of Tulsa. I used to be the offensive coordinator there, and I did just give our audience a little bit of a, nobody out here knows what the University of Tulsa is, but I was just explaining that generally speaking for our audience to kind of understand, Tulsa University is Wake Forest. It's a very small, numbers-wise, undergraduate enrollment, about 4,000 or 5,000. But anytime Tulsa University wants to, like all private institutions, anytime they want to, they could put a football team on the field like SMU. They've got oil money. They can do whatever they want to do, but they've chosen not to for whatever reasons. I've done my little, work with all the numbers that I always do each week, and every single number tilts to East Carolina. Tulsa University is not a very good football team, even though they beat Oklahoma State. All that really means is Oklahoma State is historically awful right now. Mm-hmm. And, with all of that having, putting that out for you, I mean, I know you've done some homework on it. My comment I'll back up. My comment last week about East Carolina Tulane, I said if East Carolina can play a no-turnover football game, they truly have a chance to win this football game. Well, they did that. And to East Carolina's credit, they hung around while Tulane goofed around. And East Carolina almost won the football game, and they were clean, no turnovers. The flip side of the equation this week is you better have a no-turnover game, East Carolina, because you go out there and screw around, right, with a 3-turnover game against Tulsa, and things could go sideways pretty quick. You got it.
That's a great equalizer, and you're right. I do think Trey Lamb will probably build something there because he did it in a year at ETSU. He kind of got the most out of that Gardner-Webb team that he could, excluding the fact they lost at Dowdy-Ficklin 44-0 when they came in against a 2-win ECU team 2 years ago. But he needs pieces there. Their quarterbacks are not impressive because they've had Kirk Francis. We actually saw him 2 years ago. Baylor Hayes came from ETSU, and he's 6'1", 180. He runs a little bit better than the other one, but if you don't have more at the quarterback position, there's no excuse for ECU not to be able to win this game and be comfortable. Now, there's good pieces on this Tulsa team, but you're right, it's not a good team. They've got a talented running back in Dominic Richardson, 21. He runs really hard. They've got a talented slot receiver in Zion Booker, who transferred from Western Carolina. Brody Foley's a pretty talented tight end who came in from Indiana. And then defense, all three levels, they've got A-star player with Ray Coney at linebacker, who leads the conference in tackles, Elijah Green, who's tied for the nation lead in interception. And up front, you got Jaden Burnett, who doesn't even start, but has 6 sacks to lead the American Conference. So individually, they have pieces, but as a coach, you can run around the 3 or 4 pieces they have on both sides of the ball and find those stresses and mismatches. So I expect our coaching staff has looked at all those and found them. And Coach, they've not been close in these conference games. I mean, not only are they 0-3 in the American, none of the 3 games have been close for the Golden Hurricane.
No, and you're right. It's been just exactly what you said. It's not a good football team, and I have watched a game or two. Again, I keep a long distance eye on the University of Tulsa, mainly out of curiosity because of what I spoke to a minute ago. I know internally what's capable of being done at the University of Tulsa. I know that for a fact. I coached there. I understand the dynamics of it. I understand that at any given moment, if the University of Tulsa's president made a couple of phone calls and turned loose a couple of oil paychecks, that the University of Tulsa could show up in the American Athletic Conference next year and create absolute havoc. And it disappoints me, as a guy that has a relationship with the university, that they don't do that. But, that's just a Logan Zone commentary for you. But I'm sitting here looking at all these numbers, and East Carolina's knocking down 28 points a game, and Tulsa University's knocking down 18. Well, then you go on the other side of the ball, and, East Carolina's playing really good defense, and regardless of how you want to manipulate the stats, East Carolina's only giving up 15 points a game, and here comes Tulsa giving up 26 points a game. There's a huge numerical swing offense to defense there. In the meantime, last year, and Jim, last year you're calling East Carolina's game, and I'm watching East Carolina's games. And the turnover bug that East Carolina dealt with last year, I think they had 30 turnovers last year. Now, they gained 30. I think they ended up at 0, but it was just wild. It was like nobody could hold them to a football in an East Carolina game. Well, they've done a good job this year. They're at +5 in the turnover. In the meantime, Tulsa's at -4. There's a giant swing there. And, the third down conversions, Tulsa University is at 35%, converting third down opportunities, and which at the collegiate level is anemic. And so I'm just saying, if I'm coaching the East Carolina kids right now, this whole thing is just take care of the football and do your job. And, they should come away with this thing with a victory, and I don't know what else you can add to that.
Yeah, they just, to make it the way it should be is get off to a good start. They've struggled to get off to, offensively anyways, good starts in most of the games this year, and then they kind of find their rhythm as the game wears on. The exception being the Army out and blew the doors off, and then they couldn't score again after the first quarter. And they had such a good first quarter that they with 3 touchdowns, they didn't score another offensive touchdown the rest of the way. So it'd be fun to see ECU piece together, mostly a complete game. You get 3 of the 4 quarters right, something like that. As you said, just take care of the football. I think if they just play East Carolina football, they'll probably hit some big ones down the field, because that is the great secret sauce that most teams don't have, is a really talented quarterback with a couple of really good receivers, where it makes up for a lot of ills when you can just wind up and throw a 60-yard touchdown, and that'll take a lot of game planning off your plate when you can connect on the home run ball like that. So hopefully it's a game like that. I think it should be. I agree with you. It should be that kind of a game. And you're at home, and the night of the Boneyard and all that, just it seems like the perfect time to get things going in the right direction and take care of business early, hopefully, in this one.
All right. Well, Philip, we've got a break coming up. Can we keep Jim over? Because I want to get to the Panthers. Can you do that, Jim? Can you stay with us a minute or two?
Sure. I'll hang on. Yep.
Oh. Okay. So just stay with us, Jim. And it sounds like Philip is ruining my life.
I'll just bring him down, and he'll hear the breaks, and we'll be good to go.
So we're going to take a little break, and then we'll come back, because suddenly the Carolina Panthers may become relevant. So everybody stay with us. Jim, you stay with us. We'll come back. We'll do a little Panther talk. Hang on.
If
you're concerned about your home security in Wilson and Rocky Mount or any part of eastern North Carolina, High-Tech Communications has merged with SCI Technologies. This collaboration brings a variety of products and services that do more than keep your home or business safe. They differentiate themselves through their service and commitment to providing you the most reliable and cost-effective system for your individual location. Security systems can be installed for as little as $99. Google SCI Technologies for security, life safety, and home automation. It's SCI Technologies.
Hey, this is Gray Fussell, fourth-generation winemaker at Duplin Winery and proud alumnus of ECU. It's that time of year again, time for my latest Duplin radio ad and time for Pirate football. As always, I'd love for you to visit us in Rose Hill, North Myrtle Beach, or Panama City Beach, and to look for our delicious Duplin wines at your favorite store. You can also check us out online at DuplinWinery.com for all of our wines and the best cheesecake in the world. Thank you for your support, and go Pirates!
Remember the days when you could go to your favorite butcher shop and get your pork chops or steaks cut just the way you like them? Well, you still can. Acre Station Meat Farm on Highway 32 in Pinetown, north of Washington, is Eastern Carolina's traditional butcher shop. Acre Station is where you can get your order cut the way you want it. The best sausage, bacon, and pork chops and steaks you'll ever taste. The short trip to Acre Station is worth the drive.
At Acre Station, you just get that good, friendly service you just can't find anymore.
I guarantee it's the best sausage and bacon you'll ever eat.
Fall is a great time for broadcast weed control. Let Eastern Turf Maintenance give your lawn the attention it needs and keep winter weeds out of your yard. When the Pirates come out to compete, they want to make sure their field is ready too. Eastern Turf Maintenance maintains the field for ECU, and they can do the same for you and your lawn. Contact Eastern Turf Maintenance today. Go to etmlawncare.com for all the information. That's ETM for Eastern Turf Maintenance, lawncare.com.
Have you been to Jaggers on Memorial Drive yet? I'm a regular at Jaggers, and let me tell you, if you want fresh, not frozen, you need to come to Jaggers. Burgers, chicken sandwiches, all sorts of salads, and the shoestring fries. Oh, I love those shoestring fries. My favorite is the Berry Fresh Grilled Chicken Salad, one of the best salads I've ever had. My grandkids love the burgers and fries and the chicken tenders with the awesome honey mustard and ranch. Everything is fresh at Jaggers. They don't cut any corners. Jaggers on Memorial Drive in Greenville. Also now open in Fayetteville.
Capital Subaru of Greenville invites you to fall into savings with a new 2025 Subaru Crosstrek Premium lease for only $249 a month for 36 months. That's just $8 a day. Capital Subaru also has 2025 Outback models with 0.9% APR for 36 months. Whether it's the new Outback, Crosstrek, or any other new Subaru, you'll always enjoy the best sales experience and service. Capital Subaru of Greenville on Memorial Drive, a proud official partner of the ECU Pirates.
Hey folks, Coach Logan here. Did you know that one of the top-rated insurance agencies in the country has been operating right here in our backyard since 1952? Snipes Insurance was just awarded a 2025 Best Practices designation, one of only 16 in North Carolina to receive this honor. Director of Benefits and Pirate alum Lewis Gale lives right here in Greenville. They also have a dedicated commercial and agricultural department. Check them out at snipesinsurance.com or email Lewis at snipesinsurance.com.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone here. We will be taking your calls at the top of the next hour, but right now we are taking a deeper dive into the Carolina Panthers as well as East Carolina. We just wrapped up the East Carolina side of things, and now we're going to talk more about the Carolina Panthers, who are all of a sudden 3-3 with Jim Zoki. I think the only maybe the only guy in that organization who's been there left since day one. If there's anybody else, you can count them on one hand. So now we're going to talk back to Coach Logan and Jim Zoki.
Back in the Logan Zone. So, Jim, you're still with us. Hopefully you good to go there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Jim, suddenly out of nowhere, 2 weeks ago, you and I visited, and neither one of us could believe a 30-0 victory over the Atlanta Falcons, who, by the way, beat the Bills last night or whatever. I mean, you just can't even believe what's coming out of your mouth, to be honest with you. And so, of course, the 30-0 victory, I talked to you about, as a coach, I used to talk about a victory, what are we going to do with it? And the Panthers went out and did absolutely nothing with it. And then the very next week, and here, all of a sudden they have an unbelievable victory over the Cowboys. I want to interject something there, though. I don't think the Cowboys are very good, but that doesn't matter. They still beat the Cowboys, and suddenly we're 3-3. And I pulled up the NFL stats previous to this show, and I'm watching Carolina's offense. They're creeping up the stat board there. They're not quite in the middle of the pack, but close to the middle of the pack with 22 points a game. And I would tell people, for the audience, and this because of your intimacy with the game, in the NFL, once you hit 24 points a game average, you're competitive. And, the Panthers are creeping into that arena. And, the scoring defense for the Panthers is slowly getting into the 24. They're averaging 24 points a game on defense, giving up 24 points a game, which, again, that number 24 in my time in professional football, I just knew that those are manageable numbers now for being competitive Sunday after Sunday. And you look up and suddenly they're playing the New York Jets that haven't won a football game, which, of course, could be the kiss of death. You know that, and I do too. But give me your impressions of what's going on with the Panthers right now, and particularly Bryce Young, who looks like maybe he's getting some footing to this game.
Yeah, I think he's been solid, and I think we're seeing him getting more comfortable out there. It's the old axiom, can you run the ball on offense and can you stop the run on defense? And they get an A+ for that for each of the last 2 weeks in both of those categories. When you've got a guy, Rico Dowdle, who's run for about 200 yards each of the past 2 weeks, 206 and 183, and then he catches the ball too, so yards from scrimmage he had just under 240 this past week, set a franchise record. And then defensively, over the course of 2 weeks, you've given up a grand total of 50 yards rushing, 19 yards and 31 yards. I mean, that's a formula for winning. And, Coach, if you're running the ball, and say Rico gets 6 or 7 yards on first down, the whole playbook opens up now. Now you got 2nd and 3s instead of 2nd and 9s or 2nd and 15s because you had a false start, things like that. Now you can run what you want to run, and you've got options of what you can run. You could gamble and throw downfield, or you can come back in 3rd and 3 if you get an incompletion there. And then defensively, I mean, you're right, it's not a good Dallas team. That was the number 1 offense, though, in the league. And they did get 27 points. And I will say Dak Prescott was pretty much unaccosted the whole day. He had 3 touchdowns, no sacks against them. But they stopped Javonte Williams, the former Tar Heel, to 29 yards rushing in this game. And he was the 3rd leading rusher in the NFL coming into the game. So, yeah, they got some stats here and there, but when you can win both sides of the rushing battle like that, that opens up a lot of things for both your offense and your defense.
Well, after every, I used to say this to myself all the time, we'd win a football game, and privately I would say to myself, golly, we could win all the rest of our games. It's that, you lose touch with reality. And on the flip side of that, when I would lose a football game, I was thoroughly 101% convinced we would never win another football game, ever. And so, having said that, there's some of that that's true with every fan base. It's some of that's true with every coaching staff. And and I know right now that there's a great vibe inside the Carolina Panther building. But from your vantage point, where you're a little bit detached and you're watching it on Sunday, what would you guess moving forward? Are the Panthers, is it stabilizing, or is it still too soon to call it? Is it too scary to, you don't want to jinx them by saying anything good? I mean, what do you see with the Panthers right now?
I think what you're seeing is stabilizing the great word. So I think they're competitive now. So I don't think they're like the Bulls not overflowing with like Pro Bowl players. Got some nice pieces. Derek Brown would be a guy that other teams would covet. I think a lot of teams would like to have J.C. Horn on defense. But beyond that, I think talent-wise, really nobody stands out. Offensively, I think the first-round pick, Tedero McMillan, he's got star potential. That's a true number 1 receiver, and he's a game changer. So that would be another one on that side of the ball where you've got somebody like that. But otherwise, you kind of got some guys that are just, good, solid football players and not a lot of depth. And so what you see is when guys get hurt, by the way, bad news today, Patrick Jones, outside linebacker, has got back surgery, just came back last week, and him and DJ Wanham have been kind of under the radar veteran guys that have really contained the edge on defense and been a big part of why they got some pressure on the quarterback and stopped the run along the outside zones and that kind of thing. So that's disappointing to see Patrick Jones go out for the season with back surgery, was announced today. But beyond that, big picture-wise, I think they're competitive. I think fans here would take a competitive team that would, even if they just stayed in the playoff, numerical mix down towards the end. And this team that won 2 games in 5 games in the last 2 years, if they got up to 7-8 wins even and still didn't qualify for the playoffs, people would see that as progress. I kind of think that's what this season is about. Is Bryce the guy? Do we have things going the right direction? Or we keep adding pieces around the offense and defense to get better? And then hopefully next year we would be that team that would maybe get back to being a postseason kind of a team. So I still feel like this is a building year this year. And if they somehow overachieve and get to say 9-8, make a playoff spot, something like that, terrific. But if they don't, I don't think anybody's going to get mad either, as long as they're seeing progress for the team.
Well, the 3 years that I spent at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coaching in the NFC South, okay, so I mean I'm relatively knowledgeable about that dynamic in that particular group that the Panthers are in. When I was coaching at Tampa Bay, we had Matt Ryan twice a year at the Falcons. We had Drew Brees twice a year at the Saints. And then that left who would have been the third team? Oh, the Carolina Panthers. We had Cam Newton twice a year. Okay. The point I'm making there is really there's a little window, there's a little opening for the Panthers right now, because the Penix kid over at Atlanta, I think, is going to be good. I don't know if he's going to be great, but he's certainly a good prospect and can win NFL football games. And that was simply an incredible hiccup, that 30-0 football game, because obviously, the Falcons go out and beat the Buffalo Bills, like I said just the other day, and looked like a good football team, and the Falcons are a good football team. But in the meantime, the point I'm making is, right now, and I know, the New Orleans Saints don't have a quarterback. I mean, right. I can say that. I'm not in the league anymore, and I don't have anybody to answer to. They don't. All right? And so, the Falcons are sitting there. The Panthers are sitting there with Bryce Young. Well, and in the meantime, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have the quarterback that I believe is playing the best football in the NFL right now. And that's a mouthful, but I'm a big Baker Mayfield guy. Big. And I'm weaving my way around to what you kind of mentioned, with the Saints not being very good, okay, and the Falcons being somewhat beatable. And, there is a way that the Panthers could weasel around in the NFC South and kind of be there at the end, making things interesting. What do you think?
I agree, and we've seen now Tampa Bay is 5-1, so it's going to be tough to catch them. Like you said, Baker's playing great ball, and he's doing it with most of his pieces injured. So it'll be interesting once they get Evans back at receiver, and eventually Godwin. Ibuka just got hurt last week, so even their running back Bucky Irving, I think, is still hurt. But when they get all their pieces there, they're going to be really tough. But the rest of the division, yeah, I think Atlanta's a solid team and certainly capable of being a playoff team. That was the goal this year. If Penix can get to where they want him to be this year, he's got the talent surrounding him. He's got the best running back in the league, Bijan Robinson. So they certainly could be very good. But yeah, New Orleans is right. New Orleans is like down there with Tennessee and Cleveland, like the very worst of the worst in the NFL. So you hope to get 2 wins there. You hope to beat this Jets team this week. Let's say if you just did those things, just off the top of my head, we're already at 6 wins. If you just do those things, let alone what else is down the road, which is an improvement over what you did all of last year with 5 wins. And so, yeah, you get to 6. Obviously, you can get to 8 or 9. And this division has been won by sub-500 teams before. Carolina did it. Tampa's done it. So it is possible to win without even having a winning record. But I think this year, if Baker stays healthy, they're fine. If Baker gets hurt, Tampa Bay, I think the whole thing goes as Baker's health goes for the Buccaneers.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So Well, look, I really, really appreciate the time that you give us when we call you, and it's a double shot. East Carolina and the Panthers, and appreciate everything you do, and you're one of the best. I really mean that. So maybe calling on you next week, hopefully after a couple of victories again. And I appreciate you coming in, and look forward to next week. Okay.
Always appreciate the conversation, Coach Logan. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Jim Zoki, Pirates and Panthers, double shot. All right. We got about, maybe a minute and a half left right here. So we're going to start taking calls.
Yep.
So, what's that, Philip?
Yeah, I was about to say minute and a half. We'll promote the number, yeah.
So we'll be taking some calls as soon as we get to the top of the hour, 252-561-4263. I'd love to hear from some of the folks out there, and any comments, questions, and it can be on anything, and it can be on any team. I do, I'm going to touch on the drama in Chapel Hill as it's kind of been cooling down. But North Carolina State's still an interesting conversation, and Duke has got a huge football game coming up against Georgia Tech. And, there's something to talk about there. So we'll take a call from anybody about anything, and we're going to take a little break here at the top of the hour, and we will be back. Give me a call.
Did your insurance agency just go corporate? Well, your local agent, Weatherly Insurance, is just around the corner. Weatherly Insurance is locally owned with no call centers, offering real people and real service. Weatherly Insurance proudly writes auto owners, National General, Progressive, Nationwide, and many more. Go with the local agent with national carriers. Check them out at weatherlyinsurance.com or call 756-9900. From the Outer Banks to the Inner Banks, Weatherly Insurance has you covered.
I want to take a minute here to tell you about Bill Clark Homes. The football stadium, the baseball stadium, the Pirate Club, whatever it is, Bill Clark Homes has always been there for ECU. The reason they can do all of this is because Bill Clark Homes continues to build quality homes and neighborhoods in both the Greenville area and in the Wilmington area. And whether it's Greenville or Wilmington, you can choose your school district with several homes under construction and available now in both markets. Eastern North Carolina's premier home builder, Bill Clark Homes, building family traditions.
Jeff Stein here at Brown & Wood Buick GMC, home of the lifetime powertrain warranty. For Cadillac, we got the XT5, plenty in stock, $5,000 off. For Mazda, we have the Mazda 3, 2.9%, the CX-70, $440 a month lease special, the CX-50, $339 a month with only $29.95 down. We've also got Tom Brown's favorite tagline, 4 brands, 3 generations, 2 rooftops, and 1 goal to make sure you leave a happy customer.
Hey, Pirate fans, take a trip, consolidate debt, update your home. Whatever you're planning, a personal loan up to $5,000 can help. Coach Logan here from my friends at National Finance Company. With NFC, you can get cash now. Loans up to $5,000, same-day cash, and fixed monthly payments. If you need to borrow money, trust the company that has been helping Carolinians for more than 50 years. National Finance Company. Apply at any of their 24 North Carolina locations or at nfcmoney.com.
Have you had a colonoscopy? If you're between the ages of 45 and 75, you need to be screened regularly for colorectal cancer. Dr. Philip Goldstein and Dr. Maurice Marquardt at Carolina Digestive Diseases and Endoscopy Center want to keep you healthy. They provide treatment and quality care for all GI needs. Just call the office at 252-758-8181.
This is Dr. Maurice Marquardt, reminding you that colonoscopy can save your life. Visit our website at cddgastro.com and come see us at Carolina Digestive Diseases.
Hot
Is your pharmacy fumbling when it comes to customer service, prescription fills, compounding, medical equipment, and enteral intravenous therapy? Perhaps it's time for you to allow HealthWise Pharmacy to score a touchdown in regards to your pharmaceutical needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, HealthWise Pharmacy puts you and your health first, offering top-of-the-line customer service, individual attention, and free prescription delivery to anywhere in Pitt County. HealthWise Pharmacy, 615B Memorial Drive in Greenville.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers does real burgers better than anybody. And don't forget about the cheese sticks, fresh salads, and more. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, burgers and sports at its best.
Everybody loves Tiebreakers.
This is WRHD, Farmville, Greenville. Powered by the Ritchie Law Firm Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com. That's ritchielaw.com.
And now, you just crossed over into the Logan Zone. From ECU Pirate football to the whole college landscape to basically anything else that's on his mind, Coach Steve Logan's talking about it now.
You don't coach at East Carolina. You don't come to East Carolina. You don't play at East Carolina with a weak heart.
Tweet at Steve Logan Show with your takes or call 252-561-GAME for your spot in the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. Now, here's Steve Logan.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone. We are taking your calls the rest of the show. Phone lines are actually filled up right now, so if you cannot get through, keep trying. We will be taking calls up until just before 7 o'clock. And the winner of the best call does get an 8-piece tailgate from Bojangles. That Bojangles football season is tailgate season. And again, this year Bojangles is proud to partner with ECU Athletics to celebrate Pirate football. No matter where you are on game day, pick up a Bojangles tailgate box with all the chicken fixins, buttermilk biscuits, and fresh brewed tea hungry fans want. Remember this, Pirate Nation, when you want to step up your game day festivities, it's Bow time. So we do have our first caller on the line right now. That is Mark. So we're going to toss it back over to Coach Logan and to Mark.
All right. Back in the Logan Zone we go. Mark, you on the line? What you got, man?
Hey, Coach Logan. Thanks for taking my call. I've got a question for you concerning your time when you were at ECU. If I am not mistaken, Jeff Blake was the starting quarterback in 1990. And in 1990, that team, that ECU team, went 5-6. The very following year, as we all know, ECU went 11-1 and had multiple major wins against big-time programs, teams like South Carolina, Syracuse, Pitt, Virginia Tech, etc. My question for you is, what happened between those 2 years that allowed 1991 to happen? And I'll hang up and just listen to the response.
Mark,
and thanks
for letting me
ask.
Just, you bet. And you know what? This is why I really do like doing this radio show, when I get to interact with guys or girls, ladies that call in with a really well thought out question. Because what you just asked is a fascinating part of my particular journey. It happened to have happened at East Carolina. And Philip, here's what I want you to do. I'm going to answer this question in depth because it's and I can answer it almost in detail right off the top of my head. But I want you to open your phone up, and I want you to pull up the 1990 East Carolina football schedule and the results on your phone. And now I'm going to start answering that question. In 1989, Jeff Blake played a little bit of football at quarterback. Mark Richt was the offensive coordinator. I was a running back coach. And we went, I think, 5-6 in 1989, and Mark went off to Florida State, and I was given the job. Steve Shankweiler and I were given the job as co-offensive coordinators. I was the play caller. And Mark Richt was an old school I formation toss sweep coach. That's what we did. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It was the old school Florida State offense. That's what was happening at the time. I had just come from Mississippi State, in which we were a perfectly awful football team, but I had the luxury. When you're really awful, you're now in a laboratory that's wide open, and you can try anything because you know you're going to get beat anyway. So the point is that this was the first time that I had a laboratory available to me. I was the quarterback coach, play caller at Mississippi State previous to coming to East Carolina, but I was in the beginnings of a one-back set, which back in 1990 and 1988 and 89 when I was at Mississippi State, in that era, this was new. This was new offense, and it was a new problem for the defense coordinators. Okay, so hold that thought. So when I was promoted and giving a bigger say on what are we going to do on offense, well, I was fascinated with Jeff Blake, even when he was just a part-time quarterback in 1989. Fascinated by this young man because of the way that he could throw a football. But he played very little for us as a sophomore. So here we go. Now Jeff Blake is my starting quarterback. Now there were a couple of schematic elements that Coach Shankweiler and I were dealing with. Coach Shankweiler is an expert in what's called a trap option scheme. That is a two-back attack. It requires a fullback and a tailback. Jeff Blake was perfectly capable of executing a trap option. All right? So in the meantime, I wanted to begin to implement a one-back offense, which required getting rid of one of the backs, inserting a wide receiver, and having three wide receivers, a tight end, and one running back. So this was a kind of a delicate dance of combining a two-back offense with a one-back offense. But let me say this. The gold standard, and I believe this to today, the gold standard for an offensive coach, even at the pro level now, but certainly at the collegiate level, is if you can blend an option run game with the ability to throw the football effectively in a West Coast fashion, you become deadly. Well, now this requires a special quarterback. He's got to be able to run, he's got to be able to throw, and he's got to be able to think. Okay, well, the table is now set, and we suddenly had these three elements available to us. We had a quarterback. I had a pretty good grip on a one-back passing game. The run game had already been established years before, actually, with Coach Shankweiler running this trap option idea that was new to me. Okay, so now I'm going to take a break, and I'm going to kick it over. Philip, let me say one more thing. So as the season began in 1990, we are doing this delicate dance. We're trying to blend the trap option with a one-back pass game and back and forth from first down to second down. We may be in one-back. We may be in two-back. We may be requiring Jeff Blake to be an option quarterback on first down, a drop-back passer on second down. Here we go. Is it going to work? And believe me, it's really a photo finish whether we're going to get this thing to work or not, or Steve Logan's going to get fired. And I'm fully aware of that. And God bless Bill Lewis for giving me enough latitude to do this. So, having said all that, Philip, read to me the first 4 or 5 games, scores, and the results of 1990.
All righty, so week 1 was a 27-17 victory over Louisiana Tech. That was followed by...
I remember it well, so hold that thought.
All right.
So we're thinking, hey, we're feeling pretty good. 27 points, I'll take that. And this was the kind of the coming out party of this idea. Okay, so game 2, what happens?
You guys went down to Tallahassee, played Coach Richt, and lost 24-45.
And again, I came away from that football game going, you know what? We were in no way, shape, or form ready to play Florida State. But we came away with 24 points. And again, I'm almost discounting what's happening on defense because it wasn't my problem. That was Coach Lewis's problem, okay? But again, so there's 24 points on the board. We're a 1-1 football team. Now go on.
Then you lost 24-23 at home to Virginia Tech.
Remember that game well. And once again, I'm feeling okay about this offensive laboratory that we've got going on, but we're a 1-2 team now. Go ahead.
20-10 victory over Southwestern Louisiana.
A good victory, good solid victory, and I kind of recall really featuring the run game in that particular game, but that was a game we should have won. We did win it. We had better talent. End of story. So what are we now? 2-2, 2-3, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, you're 2-2, and then you head down to
2-2.
Athens and lose 19-15 to Georgia.
We lost 19-15 to Georgia, and the offense there began to scare me. We weren't very effective. I'd almost think maybe we might have even scored a defensive touchdown that day or a special teams touchdown because I got a feeling off the top of my head we may have only scored one offensive touchdown against Georgia. Now, look, it's Georgia. But I'm one of those guys that when things don't go right, I take all the blame. I do. I'm not a blamer. And I would challenge anybody that's ever worked around me or with me to challenge that statement. I don't blame people. I internalize all of the difficulties. It's my fault. So I didn't like that football game, and I did not feel good after that football game. Go to the next game.
16-7 loss to Southern Mississippi.
Okay, you see what's happening now in this laboratory. All of a sudden, it was one, maybe two touchdowns at Georgia. Now it's Southern Miss, and we get one touchdown. So now all of a sudden, it wasn't overt, but it was definitely there that the head coach is going, I don't know about this now. I don't know about this. This is getting ready to be a photo finish. So there's one touchdown at Southern Miss. Next game, what do you got?
37-7 loss to South Carolina.
That's the one. Okay, now I'm getting to the core of the question that Mark asked. What happened? How did that come about with Jeff Blake as a junior and you win 5 games? Because that football game right there, we barely got a first down in that. I remember that game in detail, and it's been 30 years ago. And it scarred me for life because it scared me so bad. And I'm saying this is not going to work. We've either got to be a one-back team or a two-back team. I don't know if you can blend it, blah, blah, blah. I'm scared to death. And Coach Lewis, at the end of that football game, we came home on the bus. I walked into Coach Lewis's office on Sunday morning, and I'm telling you, we barely got a first down in that football game. I walked into Coach Lewis's office privately, and I walked in, and I said, Bill, you can fire me right now. But I'm asking you not to mess with me. And he never said one word to me when I said that to him Sunday morning early, the day after that football game. It was a catastrophic, devastating football game for me. And that morning I said to Bill, you can fire me. And you've got every right to do that. But if you're not going to fire me, don't mess with me. Don't come in and start telling me, do this, do that, because I still had a strong feeling that Jeff Blake was special. Okay. Give me the next football game. Philip, what happened?
Well, Coach, you scored 8 touchdowns, 56-32 over Cincinnati.
Correct. We go out, the University of Cincinnati came in to Greenville. I'll never forget this football game because this was the crucible. This is exactly to the core of the question that Mark asked, and this is part of my personal journey, okay, and what was going on at the time in that program. And we went out, and we really featured the passing game, but we kept the trap option alive, which, again, that was the goal. And we absolutely, it all came together. It all came together. It was absolutely magic. And I'm in the press box. I'm calling these. Every play's working. Every trap option's working. Every drop back pass is working. And Jeff Blake truly understood. I can remember him coming to the sideline midway through the, we're just throwing up touchdowns as fast as you can count them. And he got on the headsets and he said, "Coach, this is work. He was so excited he couldn't speak. And I was the same way. And so there's that football game. Now, at that point, that was only our third victory. We're 3-5 now. Is that right, Philip?
Correct.
Okay. What happened the next week?
You went to Temple and lost 30-27.
Catastrophic loss. But again, the offense was healthy, and I wasn't up. And again, now you got to understand, I'm an offensive coordinator. I'm not looking at the team thing necessarily. I've got my own side of the football I'm responsible for. Well, we had 27 points against a pretty good Temple football team, but we shouldn't have lost the game. I remember there were some difficulties on the defensive side of the ball. I'm not responsible for that. But there's 27 points there. Okay? What happened the next week? By the way, that made us guaranteed losing season. Right, Philip? We're 3-6?
Yep.
Okay, that guaranteed a losing season. So we're back on the boilerplate now. Okay? Yep. What happened next week?
You went to Memphis and won 24-17.
That was a huge victory against one of the best defenses in the Southeast at the time. That was a guy named Joe Lee Dunn was running that defense, and he was famous for not letting you score. But we scored. And what happened the next week?
You finished it off with a win over Northern Illinois, 24-20.
Northern Illinois was a quality football team. Jerry Pettibone was the head football coach from the University of Nebraska, and he had Northern Illinois very competitive back in the day. So we closed out the season with that victory.
They won 6 games that year, Coach, and 2 of them were over ranked opponents.
Correct. So here's the deal. If you go back to that Cincinnati football game, just start at Cincinnati, Philip, and tell me what our record was from Cincinnati on. Were we 4-2 there?
3-1.
Okay, we're 3-1 from Cincinnati on. Now, off we go into the next year, and Bill didn't fire me, thank God. And so off we go into the next year, and we go to Illinois and get beat 37-34, whatever it was, and the officiating literally took the game away from us. And that's a whole other story. But we lose the football game. But we scored 34 against 30-something points against Illinois.
31.
That's the University of Illinois. And from that point on, we ran off 10 straight victories, scoring a lot of points against a lot of people. And our defense stabilized to a degree as well. But the point I'm making is from that Cincinnati football game on, from Cincinnati on, we were 3-1 that year, and then 11-1 the next year. That's a 14-2 run. 14 victories against 2 losses, but it had everything to do with the catastrophic devastation of South Carolina destroying our laboratory of blending the option with a one-back, drop-back pass game, and the courage of Bill Lewis not folding his tent and firing the entire offensive staff, which he had every right to do at the end of that South Carolina game. He certainly had every right and cause to fire me, but he didn't, thank God. And I don't think he ever really embraced it, but at least he tolerated me. But that's the answer to your question. What happened? What happened was finally at the last possible second before the entire laboratory was going to be scrapped, we absolutely came together. We crystallized in that game after South Carolina in the Cincinnati football game. And I've told a million coaches this story before. Some of my colleagues asking about, the East Carolina journey. And I've told everybody that Cincinnati game saved everything. And God bless Jeff Blake for finally understanding what it was I was trying to get him to learn. And the rest is history, as they say. What a war story. Now, if Kevin hung on to be the next caller through all of that, I'm going to make him captain of the Logan Zone radio call-in show. Is he hanging on there, Philip?
Yeah, real quick. Kevin, you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, perfect. Well, he's going to be the captain. We're going to get to his call right after. So, Kevin, you got 3.5 minutes. We really appreciate you hanging on.
Okay, Kevin, you hang on. We're going to come right after this commercial. We're coming right back to you. And if anybody else wants to get in, 252-561-4263. We'll be right back.
Greenville Utilities customers should be proud to know that their electric, natural gas, water, and wastewater utilities are owned by the community. That means decisions are made locally, not in some other city or state. It means the utilities are run in the best interest of the community, not to make profits for out-of-state shareholders. It means reliability is high while rates remain low. Greenville Utilities, safely providing reliable utility solutions for the Greenville region since 1905.
Are you unhappy with your smile? Doctors Bowman Paget and Associates can help you with state-of-the-art procedures to get your smile game day ready. Bowman Paget and Associates agree that dressing up like a pirate for game day is one thing, but smiling like one may not be the way you want to go. Schedule your appointment at bowmanpaget.com. That's bowmanpaget.com or call 252-752-1111. Doctors Bowman Paget and Associates.
We are the dentist of ECU. Hey!
Planning a team meeting, family gathering, wedding, or a banquet for 1,000? Golden Corral Catering has you covered. From home-style favorites to customizable menus, we'll work with you to create a spread that satisfies every guest. Need delivery, setup, or full service? We do it all, so you don't have to. Make your next event easier and more delicious and more enjoyable with Golden Corral Catering. Call us, stop in, or order online today at goldencorral.com.
At Flatlands Jessup, experience isn't just a number, it's peace of mind. Our commercial lines division brings together over 150 years of combined insurance expertise, guiding Eastern North Carolina businesses like yours. We know your area, we know your challenges, we know your people, and we know how to deliver solutions that last. With Flatlands Jessup, you don't just get an insurance policy, you get a trusted local partner in growing your business. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Hey folks, this is Coach Steve Logan for Walton Academy and Children's World Learning Centers. I've known the Walton family for years. In fact, I coached Chad and Blake Walton in Pee Wee years ago. Walton Academy is a K-8 private school in Greenville on Arlington Boulevard. They also operate 4 Children's World Learning Centers across the city. The Waltons believe school should be a place where kids feel inspired, supported, and excited to learn. I promise you that if the Waltons put their name on something, it's done with heart, purpose, and excellence.
Your roof has seen its better days. During a really hard rain, you get a leak. Call a roofing contractor, and before they look at it, they say you need a new roof. Well, maybe you do, or maybe it can be repaired and last for a few more years. Whichever the case, Langley Roofing will give you an honest assessment. Whether it's commercial or residential, Langley Contracting will get the job done with their own employees. That's why you get a 25-year warranty. Easy number to remember, 252-214-ROOF. That's 214-ROOF. Langley Contracting, 214-ROOF.
If you haven't been to Shaw's Barbecue in Williamston lately, you don't know what you're missing. Start the day off right with one of their sausage dogs, old-fashioned cheese biscuits, or any combination of breakfast sandwiches you can think of. For lunch or dinner, get crispy fried chicken, fresh seafood, or, of course, barbecue. You can get pulled, chopped, sliced, even G-Man chopped barbecue. What's G-Man chopped barbecue? Head to Shaw's and ask them. Shaw's Barbecue, West Boulevard in Williamston. Open daily except Sunday.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome back into the Logan Zone. Bill Clark Homes has always been there for ECU, and they can continue to support year after year because Bill Clark Homes continues to build quality homes and neighborhoods in both the Greenville area, and the Wilmington area. And whether it's Greenville or Wilmington, you can choose your school district with several homes under construction and available now in both markets. Eastern North Carolina's premier home builder, Bill Clark Homes, building family traditions. We have about 40 minutes here, the less open left here in the Logan Zone. Phone lines are tied up right now, so we got a few callers waiting, but keep trying to get through if you are calling. We will take it up till just a few minutes before the 7 o'clock hour. And Kevin, who's been hanging on a long time, is hanging out with Coach Logan now, so we're tossing it back to Coach Logan and Kevin.
Kevin, I'm going to make you captain of the team for this particular broadcast, so you got it. What you got going on? What's your question?
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the history lesson.
Okay, great.
But I was we hear a lot of fans about offensive coordinators scripting plays. What exactly is the purpose of scripting, like the first X number of plays of a game, and could that be a reason why East Carolina has been off the slow starts 4 out of 6 games this year?
Well, okay, scripting a game, this is one more thing that most fans, quite honestly, don't understand. All right? And so here again now, the last caller got me into the weeds, and it got to be a detailed story. I'm going to get into the weeds again with you, and I'm going to explain to you how and what scripting opening plays is. This goes all the way back to the San Francisco 49ers. Bill Walsh popularized this idea, and I utilized it religiously all the way until my very last year of coaching 6-7 years ago. So here's what it is and how it operates. You look at your first down calls, and you decide you're very confident. Let me put it this way. You're very confident from your film study that on first down, early in the game, the defense is going to line up like this. Therefore, you should be able to run with confidence this particular football play, whatever it may be. All right? And the same thing is true on second down. Okay, you should be able to, let's pretend that Coach Walsh used to script like his first 10 or 12 plays. Now, some people take it overboard and they're going to try to script their first 20, which to me doesn't work, because all I can only speak for myself. I called plays intuitively once I had exhausted my opening scripted plays. By the end of my scripted plays, which were for me was usually 10 or 12 football plays, at the end of that, I had a feel for the game. And here's the thing it does for the play caller. It's calming for you to go to the press box, and you've already got your plays scripted. And you scripted them with confidence because of what you saw on film, what should be on the field when you break the huddle early in a football game. The defense is going to line up like this is their base defense, okay? So you should have some play action passes drawn up. You should have some, if you've got a trick play, and this is a Coach Walshism too. If you have what's called a trick play or a shot play or something like that, you make sure you call your trick play before the other guy does. And there's something about that dynamic that I always adhered to, whether it be a reverse pass, whatever the case may be. Those are first and second down calls. Okay, so let's get back to scripting. When you put down your first 10 football plays, you don't just call them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? Here's how it works. You make your first call of the game that's scripted. It's first and 10. It's actually what's called a possession and 10. And so, you've just taken possession of the football. Possession and 10s are a category for a play caller that are different than first and 10s. Possession and 10s are when the other team's punted or you've returned a kickoff and now you're out on the field and here we go, that's a possession and 10. And that has a different dynamic to it as a play caller. I'm not going to go down that road with you, but just be aware of that. So a 1st and 10 call, you've earned a first down. So something good has happened, so you've got some rhythm going. But let's get back to scripting. You're opening the game on possession and 10, and you call your first play of the game. And hopefully it goes forward, at least it's 2nd and 6 if it's a run play, or it's a completed pass. Now, there's another issue. For me, this is West Coast gospel, straight from Coach Walsh. You want to make sure that your first pass plays, and these are scripted, these are high completion ideas. Why? Well, obviously you want a successful football play, but you want to make sure that your quarterback gets his feet on the ground, he gets 3-4 completions under his belt, and now he's confident, and here we go. That's crucial to quarterback play. It's crucial to the play caller. Okay, back to scripting. So you call your first down, and then you call your second scripted play, because it's most assuredly 2nd down and less than 10. So you call your first play, you call your second play. Well, now, if the 2nd down play doesn't work, it becomes what? 3rd down. You don't call your 3rd scripted football play on 3rd down. You come off of your scripted play and go to where? Your 3rd down calls. Now, those are categorized as well. But let's pretend I called a scripted football play on 1st and 10 and got it to 2nd and 6. I called my 2nd down play, which is a scripted football play. It's already there, right there on my game plan. You've already rehearsed it with your football team. That's the other element. You rehearse these plays with your football team. Hey, guys, here's our script to open the game. You want everybody to be confident. They should know the call that's coming into the huddle. You're wanting to stabilize everything to get the game off in a manageable fashion. That's part of the element of scripting. Okay, let's get back to it. I called 2nd down and 6. I called my scripted football play and gain 2. Well, now it's 3rd down and 2. You come off the scripted plays and go to your 3rd down calls. Now, on my 3rd down call list, you have a category of plays. You've got 3rd down extra, which is 3rd and 10 or 3rd and 11 plus. 3rd and extra. You've got 3rd and 7 to 10. That's a category. You've got 3rd and 3 to 6. Then you've got 3rd and 1 to 2. Well, what did we just achieve? We achieved a 1st down call. We achieved a 2nd down call, and now suddenly it's 3rd and 2. So I come off my scripted plays and go to 3rd and 2 on my play sheet. Now, under 3rd and 2, I've probably got 5 calls ready to go for that football game. But those 3rd down and 2 calls, I've got 5 of them on my menu to choose from. And even early in the game, I'm already starting to get some, gut feelings about what's going on here. So I go to my 3rd and 2 call sheet, call something hopefully that works, and guess what? It's 1st and 10 again. What do you do now? You go back to your scripted plays. So I should be on my 3rd scripted play now because I'm on 1st and 10 again. So then I go scripted play 1st down, scripted play 2nd down. Maybe I got a 1st down now. I went 1st down, 2nd down, now I got another 1st down. I go to my 4th scripted play. You stay on the scripted calls as long as it's 1st or 2nd down. Anytime you go into a 3rd down situation, you come off the script, go to your 3rd down categories. Let's say I'm in a 3rd down 7. Well, I go to my 3rd down and 7 to 10 list, and once again, I'm going to have 5 calls ready to go on 3rd and 7 to 10, and I'm at the smorgasbord now. Okay, pick one. Hopefully to goodness it works, and you're back into 1st down. And now you're back onto your scripted plays. Well, by the time all of this is over, and normally you'll exhaust your script somewhere late in the 1st quarter, okay? So this is, I've given you how the scripted plays work. And I don't think, Kevin, that you can say, East Carolina's getting off to a slow start. Is it because of the script? If those scripted plays aren't working, okay, this is where you have to do an autopsy. You're either choosing the wrong plays, which that's highly doubtful, because the time that the coaches are in the room with the film right in front of you in which to make your decisions about what plays should work against this particular style of base defense, okay, and you've got confidence in what you can do, these plays should work. If they are not working, and you're analyzing this scripted play idea and it's not working, the blame, for lack of a better word, goes on to your players. It's a lack of execution. And your players aren't good enough, or it can go back to coaching where you're putting your players in bad positions. You're asking some of your players to do some things they can't do. So, this is where the autopsy begins, and let me tell you what happens in any football meeting room. There is a constant autopsy taking place, and it's called the distribution of credit and the assignment of blame. That's what goes on in staff meetings when you're reviewing a film. Did the play work? Well, let's distribute the credit. Man, the quarterback did something well. Okay. And great call by the offensive coordinator. When the play doesn't work, well, guess what? The left guard just got completely destroyed. You got to assign blame. And guess what? The offensive coordinator shouldn't have called that, put the left guard in a bad situation. So this is, I'm trying to answer your question about what's wrong? Why are we getting off to a slow start? And so those are the questions that should be asked. And it gets down to that, exactly what I'm speaking to. It's the distribution of credit and assignment of blame. And so, I'm answering your question on two fronts. I'm trying to explain to you how scripting works when it's done properly, why you should do it. It's to calm the play caller down and give the players confidence. My football players knew what I was going to call the first half of the first quarter. They knew almost every call. So did the quarterback. The quarterback certainly knew what pass plays I was going to call. Why? To calm everybody down, to control the adrenaline at the beginning of a football game, and try not to make the mistakes that can be catastrophic and get you off to a bad start. So, Kevin, there you go. And that's kind of, and again, we could sit down and have a 2-hour conversation about scripting plays, and I could pull out game plans and show you functionally how they work, functionally why they should work. Most of the time, scripting for me in my little journey worked. It worked. And I wasn't necessarily trying to get off to a great start. I just wanted to make sure I didn't get off to a blow up. And most of the time, I used to tell our kids, and I certainly told our when I was the head coach, I would say, that first drive, at least make sure we punt the football. You can't go out there and open a football game and drop the football on the ground or throw an interception. That can't happen. It destroys your momentum. It destroys your mentality. It shakes up the play caller. It shakes up the quarterback. It shakes up the sideline. It creates a hangdog mentality. So at the very least, script 3 football plays that we can at least punt the football and work our way into the football. Football games are like boxing. And I used to tell our football team this. Football plays are exactly like boxing. You're going to come out in the first quarter and you're going to feel your opponent out to a degree. Now, I want to score just like everybody else. But we should be landing some body blows. And the second quarter, we're going to take a shot or two. The third quarter, okay, we're out there and we're really working work the ring, make sure you get your left hook working, and make sure you got your right hook ready to go, your left jab's working. Come fourth quarter time, it's knockout time. It's the boxing analogy, and there's truth in that. How to manage a football game. And, particularly with the fan base, I would say fans are famous for, 2 weeks ago I watched North Carolina State play Campbell. And North Carolina State's out there kind of slopping around. And, there's 8 minutes gone on the clock, and it's just 7-0 North Carolina State. And the fans are getting restless. I got news for you. Games don't start out 28-0 just because the opponent's not any good. You got to go earn it and stack those bricks one on top of another. Well, the game ended 56 to whatever it was, kind of like what East Carolina did to Campbell. But there are body blows that have to be administered. There are some heavy right crosses that have to be administered. And then there's a knockout blow that has to take place somewhere in that fourth quarter, particularly when the competition is level. Scripting plays. Oh, my goodness. Okay. Philip, do we have Sam hanging on?
I believe so. Sam, you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
All righty, Sam.
Tell Sam to hang on. We're going to take a little break, and the number to get in on the show is 252-561-4263. Sam, hang on through the break. You're up next. A little break in the Logan Zone.
After selflessly serving in the military to protect our country, our heroes often bear the burden of debilitating neurological damage from traumatic brain injury or post-traumatic stress disorder. Every day, 18 veterans take their own lives. But there is hope. HBOT for Heroes is a nonprofit committed to making groundbreaking hyperbaric oxygen therapy available to veterans. Find out more at hbot4heroes.org. That's hbot4heroes.org. And look for HBOT for Heroes soon in Jacksonville near Camp Lejeune.
It's bow time. The Pork Chop Griller is back at Bojangles for a limited time. We know you missed it in all its tender, marinated glory, and how could you not? Because when you take a juicy, mouth-watering pork chop and sandwich it on a flaky, made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit, it's not a flavor you want to say goodbye to. And don't worry, if it could talk, we're pretty sure it would say, I missed you too. Get to the nearest Bojangles and order yours today. It's bow time.
They say nothing is so strong as gentleness. At Michael and Russell Law Firm, they agree. Gentleness is not weak. It's a deeper kind of strength that's empathetic and kind. It's why they specialize in law that puts families first. Their team offers leading expertise in collaborative law, adoption law, juvenile family law, litigation, and appellate family law, all backed by an effective, gentle approach.
I'm Ashley Michael. And I'm Ashley Nicole Russell. We know this journey is hard, and we're here for you.
Daughtridge Gas and Oil has been your dependable propane supplier for 95 years. Their trained technicians can service and properly install all your propane and natural gas appliances. Plus, Daughtridge Gas and Oil is your backyard expert with fire pits, grills, smokers, and more, including quality outdoor furniture at their Greenville Patio and Hearth Shop at 1901 Charles Boulevard. Go by and see the knowledgeable staff at Daughtridge Gas and Oil for propane delivery or call 756-1345.
As fall approaches, two things come to mind: football and cooler weather. This is Rachel Davis with Advanced Mechanical Heating and Air. We wanted to thank you for the trust you have put in us this summer. Before you know it, cooler temperatures will arrive, signaling winter is on the way. Don't wait. Prepare now for colder temperatures by scheduling a tune-up. Give us a call today at 252-355-9191 or visit our website, advancedmechnc.com.
When making decisions on your insurance coverages to protect your most valuable assets, First State Insurance Advisors is here to help. When you choose First State, you are working with people you can trust right here in Eastern North Carolina. Clark Stallings and his team provide knowledgeable advice with excellent service. Whether you're protecting your family with life insurance, your home and auto with personal coverage, or your business with reliable commercial insurance, First State Insurance Advisors has you covered. We would be honored to become your trusted choice agency.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
Coach Logan's in the zone. And now, so are you. Back into the Logan Zone. Brought to you by Bill Clark Homes, Greenville Utilities, and Bojangles. On 94.3 The Game and Talk 96.3.
Welcome into the Logan Zone here. I'm losing count. Week 8 edition of the Logan Zone. Final drive here in Week 8. And once again, thank you to Bill Clark Homes, Bojangles, and Greenville Utilities. So now Sam has been patiently waiting, so we're going to toss it over to Coach Logan and Sam.
All righty. We are back. So, Sam, you've been hanging on. Hit me with your best shot, man. What you got?
All righty. Well, in spite of the fact that I grew up in Tulsa, about 6 years behind you, in the late 70s, I became a member of Raider Nation.
Yep.
I gave up on my beloved Cowboys because they were just too obnoxious, and I went to my second place team, which was in Oakland. First 25 years or so was a pretty good ride. The last 25 years or so has just been a nightmare. Are there less than 32 people in the country who know how to develop a pro football team? And if there aren't, why can't Oakland find one? What is so hard about developing? I mean, only a few people can do it, I know, but how many can do it, and what does it take to find the right guy?
Well, Sam, here's the deal. When I left college football and had the opportunity to go into professional football, I was told by a friend of mine that had actually he was Terry Bradshaw's backup quarterback for 2 years. And he was a man that was kind of a mentor to me. And he had been in college football and as a coach. He had played professional football as a backup quarterback to Terry Bradshaw back in the day. And then this particular guy, Bob Leahy is his name, he went into professional football. Well, about the time that I went into professional football, I was talking with Bob, and he said, Steve, I'm just going to say, I'll say this out loud, and if I hurt somebody's feelings, I don't care. He said, Steve, NFL owners make athletic directors look sane. So, for you to appreciate what he just said, all football coaches generally think the athletic directors are absolutely nuts because of the natural tension that exists there. You know, you're the football coach and you're in the front line and you're in the trenches and you've got an athletic director that's got a lot of responsibilities, and I don't mean to dismiss or demean athletic directors, but routinely as a football coach, you'll be having a conversation with your athletic director that becomes there's a lot of tension, and you kind of wonder who's on whose side here. Well, let's go back to the statement my friend said. You're going to find out that owners, NFL owners, make athletic directors look sane. Well, off I journey into the world of professional football, and I'm just telling you right now, these guys that own these football teams, okay, so you're talking in particular, you know, about Al Davis. And Al Davis is known in and outside of the, you know, Al has passed away now. But back when the Raiders were up and running, Al Davis was a renegade owner. All of these guys back in the day were multimillionaires. They're billionaires now. Now, just think about it this way, Sam. If you're a billionaire and you buy a football team, do you really know anything about football? No, you don't. But you know a whole lot about whatever the devil it is you made your $1 billion with. And here's a little Mark Twain. I know this came from Mark Twain. I'm going to generalize the quote for you. Just because somebody's got a lot of money doesn't mean they're very smart. And that quote has always, now I didn't give it to you exactly the way it was written. But there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of people that have enormous amounts of money. It doesn't make them necessarily smart. And it dadgum sure doesn't make them smart outside of the field in which they made their money. Okay? So let's just hold on to that thought and move into trying to answer the question you're talking about. If you've got a billionaire that buys a football team of all things, and then let me put it to you this, do you think Arthur Blank, who's a multi-billionaire, because he figured out that do-it-yourself, fix-it stuff can create Home Depot, and he's a genius there. Do you think Arthur Blank's ever had a jock on? No, sir. Now, so if you've got that part in place, the next part should be this. Go hire some really smart people that do know football, and then try to stay the hell out of the way. Now, I get it. It's your team. It's your money. It's your toy. So it takes a lot of self-discipline to not interfere so much that things go sideways. So, and we've all heard the stories. Well, I'll give you a story right now that I don't know it to be true. I can't prove it to be true, but I'd bet you $1 million it's true. This year in the NFL draft, Shedeur Sanders, 32 teams in the National Football League decided that Shedeur Sanders was not a first-round pick and maybe not even a National Football League level quarterback. I don't know if he is or not, but 32 teams decided that he wasn't. It finally got down to the 4th round and on national television. I can't prove this, but I promise you, the owner of the Cleveland Browns made the coach of the Cleveland Browns draft Shedeur Sanders and put him in the quarterback room to where they had 4 quarterbacks in their room now. Now that cost that head coach a valuable 4th round pick that he needed at rush end, inside linebacker, safety. I don't know, but they had a need. They didn't need a 4th quarterback. I don't care who it was. So I'm just you're asking the question, how, why? It's just, how do we remain unstable? Well, there's you a little dose of it right there. There's a little dose of it right there. And so you say, hey, wait a minute. How come basically the Green Bay Packers are always competitive? How come basically the Kansas City Chiefs have been competitive? How come basically the Pittsburgh Steelers have remained competitive year after year after year? There's no chaos in those franchises. Why? Because somewhere along the line, the owner let me put it this way. In those organizations, there is a proper paradigm. There's somebody at the top. All the years that the Patriots were winning whatever Super Bowls they want, 6 or 7, all those years, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me about Bill Belichick and Robert Kraft and all. I don't care what you want to tell me. I can tell you this much. Though there was a proper paradigm of responsibilities and assignments, and there wasn't any chaos. Now, the linchpin to all of that is the quarterback. Well, guess what? There's Tom Brady. Well, guess what? At the Saints, there's Drew Brees. Well, guess what? There's Patrick Mahomes. Before Patrick Mahomes, there was Alex Smith. And before Alex Smith, there was Michael Vick. Or whoever it was that Andy Reid, okay, and whoever is the general manager at the Kansas City Chiefs, they had the proper downflow of assignments and responsibilities down through the organization all the way through and to the equipment managers. There are so many NFL football teams that year after year after year, that is not in place. And more often than not, there's an owner that just can't leave well enough alone. Or he can't take what's necessary to hang in there with probably a pretty good football coach that either doesn't have the quarterback or doesn't have the defense or whatever. I mean, the Tennessee Titans hired Callahan last year, and Callahan coached. And this year, Callahan is 1-5. He's got a rookie first-round draft pick quarterback in Cam Ward, but no, we're 1-5. We're going to fire Callahan and bring in a new guy. And so there's no chance for the water to settle. And so the Tennessee Titans are in hell, and you're going to get beat, and you're not going to get any better for next year. And guess what? This is where the Raiders have been. There was a slight stabilization there with John Gruden. And then there was some I 101% believe that Roger Goodell sabotaged John Gruden to get him out of the league. And the owner couldn't stand up to it, didn't stand up to it. And what's happened since? The owner could have stood up and put his middle finger up and kept John Gruden. They were a playoff football team. Hoo-wee. Picking at scars now. I'm getting upset. All right.
Coach, real quick before you go, you know what's funny about what you're talking about? You know who hadn't had a losing season in forever? The Pittsburgh Steelers. Because they've only had 3 coaches since in your lifetime.
I know all about it. That's what I'm preaching the gospel. I know all about it. So anyway, we got to get out of here. We're on a clock, and I appreciate all the calls. That was a fun show, and we will see next Thursday. True, Philip?
Yes, sir. Back to Thursday.
All right. We'll be back on Thursday next week. We'll see y'all.
Locals know, visitors discover, and everyone's welcome at Caribsea and Emerald Isle. Stop in for the handcrafted cocktails, stay for the live